Hi there. This is a special lecture that is aimed at any ninth and or 10th standard student who is trying to learn basic integration for using it in physics. And the only prerequisite is that you should be aware of differentiation, which I have kind of taught earlier. So if you're aware of differentiation and if you're only looking for learning elementary integration that is going to be useful in physics, then you are in the right place and have a look at this lecture. So see, integration in general is known as the reverse process of differentiation. Like, even if you look at this thing from the point of view of English, you'll see that differentiating means like breaking things up. We differentiate between different kinds of people. This guy is good, that guy is bad. So we're kind of breaking them up into compartments, into groups, something like that. And integration means we are just bringing them together. Like, if you read your history books, they will say that after the British people left India, they had divided India into multiple things, like multiple nations or territories or whatever. But then our people, our army people, they ultimately managed to combine most of them together. Not all of them, maybe a few were left, which still kind of create problems, but they managed to combine most of them together. And that process was known as integration of India. So it's not nothing like that, that they performed the mathematical operation of integration on India, but integration in simple English means combining together, adding together. That is integration. Differentiation means kind of breaking up. So as you can see, they are obviously the reverse processes, integration and differentiation. And this is going to be our basic idea for learning integration. And before really jumping into the mathematical parts and getting into complicated things, let me just give you first of all the notation. See, you know very well that in mathematics, notations are very basic and very important. So like, if you remember, differentiation was denoted by this thing. This was the notation for differentiation. And we know that if, let's say, that this was to be done, then the answer would be 2x. We already know this. So if you remember, there I had said that differentiation is kind of a magician. So this guy is like a magician. D by dx is the magician who performs his magic on x square, and he transforms x square into 2x. And once the magic has been performed, there is no magician here. So it's not like that, that after differentiating, you'll still write the answer as d by dx of sin x. That's not going to happen. So the magician has performed as magician, the magician is gone, and the answer simply is 2x. And it happens everywhere in mathematics. Like, let's say that, let's say if you're talking about sine 30 degrees, you know that sine 30 degrees is half. Doesn't mean that 30 degrees is equal to half. Obviously, you can see again that sine is a magician. He performs some kind of a jumbo mumbo magic on 30 degrees. He converts it into half, and then the magician, after performing his or her magic, simply disappears. Easy. And this magician, what I'm in physics in crude language, I'm calling it magician. In mathematical language, this is known as a function. Something that does something to 30 degrees and converts it into half. These all things like d by dx, sine, cos, tan, these are called functions in technical language, but I'll just simply continue to keep them, I'll continue to call them magicians only. Similarly, the notation for integration is this. It's a little more complicated. The notation for integration is this. Note carefully. The notation for integration is not just this, that you draw a snake like this and that's integration. No. Strictly speaking, although you can do it that way also, but properly speaking, this is the notation. And if you need to, let us say, integrate x square, then you put x square in this bracket. If you need to integrate, let's say, tan x, then you put tan x into the bracket, and so on. And pronunciation also should be clear, that this thing is pronounced like, this is pronounced like integral of x square with respect to x. That's the complicated way of pronouncing it. A simple way is that you can simply call it integral x square dx. Yeah, integral x square only also is also kind of okay, although you should write down this very clearly, that with respect to what you are integrating, this should be very, very clearly mentioned. And just like differentiation, if you recall that all the rules of differentiation were valid only when this variable and this variable were same. If you, let us say, if you have d by dy of x cube, then you can't write this as d, you can't write this as 3x square. This is incorrect. This rules, all these rules were valid only when you were differentiating the same variable with respect to same variable. So same way in integration also, all the rules of integration that we will study will be valid only when this variable and this variable is same. If they are not same, it's something like tan y dx, then the integral is stuck. You will have to somehow convert this fellow in terms of x, or convert this fellow in terms of y. Means basically you'll have to make them same. Only after that you will be able to apply your rules of integration. So what we have seen till now is that the symbol of integration is this thing, and this thing is this pronounced as integral of x square with respect to x, or simple language you can just call it as integral of x square dx, integral x square dx. And this is the notation, pronunciation and all these things, simple things till now. And trust me, it's going to remain simple only. You have seen this in differentiation. I promised you that differentiation is going to be easier than your division that you learned in class first, second, third, fourth, fifth. Nowadays are much smarter, so I think they teach it much earlier these days. But I remember when we learned division, it was a mess. God knows where we'll put that decimal place, how many zeros will come. Still, I get confused sometimes during division. So, but as far as differentiation was concerned, I think you saw that it was at least the basic differentiation that they use in physics was definitely much easier than your division thing. Same thing is going to happen with integration also, but a word of caution. I'm not saying that integration is easy. Maths people will kill me, mathematics teachers will kill me before I say that, because integration might be very difficult for certain big mathematical problems, but luckily we are only learning basic integration that will be useful in physics. So from that perspective, our integration is going to be fairly simple. And now see, our basic line of rule is very simple, that integration is the reverse process of differentiation. So this is one line from which we will derive all the formula of integration. Like for example, you know that derivative of x cube is 3x square. So from our idea, the reverse process is integration. So it should be like the integral of 3x square dx should be equal to x cube. See, differentiation of x cube gives you 3x square. So that's the forward process. And the reverse process will be that if you integrate the answer, then it should be able to give you question back. This is something like that. If 2 is there, 1 upon 2 reciprocal of 2 is 0.5. So if you take the reciprocal again of 0.5, you will get back your 2 essentially. So the same thing is applicable for integration and differentiation also. And with this, as I said, we are going to derive all our formulae. Now this is obviously not a formula, but we are soon going to get to that point. And now one thing that we can see is that integral of 3x square will give you x cube. We are not exactly interested in that. We are interested in the basic question. What is integral of x square dx? Let's say that somebody says, please find the value of integral x square dx. So in our first equation, we can turn things around a little bit. You know that this 3 can be taken on the other side. So we can say that 1 by 3 into d by dx of x cube will give you x square. And in differentiation, you know that this constant number, if it is being multiplied, it can be taken inside differentiation. So you can say that derivative of x cube by 3 will give you clear cut x square. So if you reverse this thing, now you can see that if derivative of x cube by 3 gave you x square, then the reverse process, integral of x cube dx will simply give you, integral of x square will give you simply x cube by 3. So this is how things are going to function, that if derivative of something gives you an answer, then integral of that answer should give you that something back. That's basically the rule that we are following. And it's, you can see that one very simple result has been derived like this. And you can go on like this. Let's say, let me give you another thing. Let's say if I ask you that, okay, find out what is integral of x raised to 7 for me. Now, if you need to find out integral of x raised to 7, we don't know what this is, so let's call it question mark. But question mark is a fellow whose derivative should give you x raised to 7. If you can find something whose derivative gives you x raised to 7, then that is your answer for the original question. That's how the cookie crumbles. So you can see that now you have to guess maybe a little bit whose derivative will give you x raised to 7. The first thing that comes to your mind is, okay, let's try x raised to 8. But immediately you see that x raised to 8 was a very nice guess, no problem at all, but this gives you 8x raised to 7. So you're off by a factor of 8. So what do? You divide this by 8. So you will have this and you will get your perfect x raised to 7. So by a little bit smart thinking, a little bit hit and trial, you can easily see that if you differentiate x raised to 8 by 8, you will get x raised to 7. So obviously, if you integrate x raised to 7, then the answer should be x raised to 8 by 8. As simple as that. So our final answer here is x raised to 8 by 8. This is our final answer. And I think by now, see, all the good students are very good at generalizing the concepts. Like I remember when I was of your age, if you give me 2 or 3 solved examples, don't even tell me the theory. Give me 2 or 3 solved examples, and in most of the cases, I will build the theory back from a few solved examples. Most of the good students do that. So here also, I hope you can see that you can easily generalize this. Integral of x square is x cubed by 3. Integral of x raised to 7 is x raised to 8 by 8. So you can, I hope you can easily see how the things are going around. So our general thing will be that integral of x raised to any number n, this is given by x raised to n plus 1 upon n plus 1. You can easily see that if this power was 7, then here also we had 8, here also we had 8. So you can see that here also we will have n plus 1, here also we will have n plus 1. This will be our thing. This will be our first formula, in fact, for integration. But there is one little bit of problem. Differentiation, we did not have this problem, but integration will have a problem, because in integration this n plus 1 is coming in denominator, and you know that denominator should never really go to 0, at least in physics, because if denominator goes to 0, then the things will go to infinity, and infinity is like things get ugly, and we avoid that. So therefore here this formula is very nice. This will work everywhere except for n equal to minus 1. N plus 1 should not be 0. So it works for all n except n equal to minus 1. Now you will immediately ask me, sir, what happens if n is equal to minus 1? And for that, I will say, my little friend, that patience is a noble virtue. Let us exercise it. We'll come to n equal to minus 1 also, but later on. First of all, let us practice what we have learned till now. Then we will come to this idea that what happens when n is equal to minus 1. But till now, let's rule out the case n equal to minus 1, and let's concentrate on what we have learned till now. So this is, you can see that this is easy. And now you should obviously remember this formula, because you might say that, sir, okay, I will not remember any formula in integration, because as you said, everything is reverse process of differentiation. So whenever a question comes, I will keep on reversing it. Now that will become very tedious very soon. So it's better. It's the method is right. You can always reverse, but it will become very cumbersome and tedious. So therefore, it's always better that if these kind of formulae are available, you should learn them. So they'll end up saving a lot of time of yours. Now, after we have derived something, it's always important to practice a few questions, get comfortable with it. So let's kind of get comfortable with it. You can see if I give you, now don't worry, I'm not going to give you x raised to 8 or something that will be too silly. So let me give you something that matches intellectual level. So let's say if I give you something simple, only root x, and if you are asked to calculate this integral, suppose, now you can easily see that root x can be written as x raised to half dx. So you can easily see that here n is equal to n is equal to half. So therefore your answer after your integral integration is again a kind of magician. So this integral performs its magic, and the integration sign disappears, and you will have your final product. So x raised to n is integrated as x raised to n plus 1 upon n plus 1. So that is like x raised to 3 by 2 upon 3 by 2. and you can keep on simplifying it further as per your own pleasure. You know that x raised to 3 by 2 can be written as x root x. So you can algebraically you can keep on simplifying it as per your requirements, but that's how you perform your integration. So this is one thing. And now see, while we are at it, we should also learn one more important idea here, that uh, okay, root x, if you integrate root x, you will get 2 by 3x root x. That is fine. No doubt about that. This is okay. 100% fine. But there are some people who can put up an argument here. They can say that, sir, you said that differentiation and integration are reverse process, and integration is simply the reverse process of differentiation. So let us say, if now you are saying that integral of x root x dx is this thing, we totally have full respect for that, no problem at all. But let us say a student comes up to you and says that integral of root x dx is equal to 2 by 3 x root x plus 100. Would you call him wrong? Think about it, you can't, because the problem is that if what the definition of integration was that if you integrate root x and you get an answer, then the answer is considered to be right if the derivative of answer gives you the question back. So check, is the derivative of this answer root x? Absolutely yes, because 100 is a constant, its derivative will simply give you 0. So that's totally, you can say that's fitting your description of integration. So you'll have to give marks for that also. And then the students are always mischievous. Then another student comes to you, okay sir, fine, now let's say Santosh has written this answer, so let us say my answer will be 99.317. Another student is, let's say he writes this answer, you'll have to give him also marks. Another student writes this answer. You can see that pi is a constant, complicated number, but it's still a constant ultimately. So the problem is this, that if the students start writing these answers, you'll have to give all of them finally marks, because these are funny answers, but they are all correct. So in general, to avoid all this nonsense, we generally say whenever we integrate anything, we generally write the answer as this. Because you can keep on adding funny numbers here, that's your wish. But generally, in order to avoid all this foolery, we simply do in what we do in physics is this, that we just put a constant here. We just say that integral of root x dx will be equal to 2 by 3x root x plus constant. And this constant can be any number. It will be dependent on the conditions of the physics problem. It will be dependent on something maybe, but you will just write a constant here in order to satisfy the people who say that the reverse process of integration is differentiations and so on. So this is generally the way we finally leave the answer. If you leave the answer like this also, it's kind of okay initially, but generally a more formal way of leaving the answer is that you put a constant here, and the constant will be more or less like a formality to us right now. But later, once we look at applications of integration, you will realize that this constant has deep importance as far as applications in physics are concerned. But right now, we will not worry much about the constant. We will just add a constant everywhere in the end and just treat it like a formality, nothing more than that for right now. Let's practice further. Let's look at one more example. Let us say if I give you a derivative like integral like 1 upon x root x. Now, let's say if we are asked to integrate this fellow. So what we will do is this, that this whole thing can be written as x raised to 1, x raised to half. Further, you can, first of all, you can keep on simplifying the denominator. It can be written like this. Then you know that if you bring this to numerator, this will become minus 3 by 2. So this is integral of x raised to minus 3 by 2. And you can easily see the root that we are taking. See, we know a formula for integral of x raised to n. So whenever you have something, we try to convert it into x raised to some number. So here you can see that our number n is minus 3 by 2. So obviously n plus 1 will be equal to minus 3 by 2 plus 1, which is like minus half. So therefore, you can easily see that our integral, this integral is called I. this integral will be equal to integral of x raised to, sorry, let's perform the integral anyway because we have n plus 1 also. So integral of x raised to n will be equal to x raised to n plus 1 upon n plus 1 plus constant. This constant comes in free right now, so you just put the constant everywhere and don't think too much about it. So minus 2 x raised to minus half, and you can just keep on simplifying your calculations. So in the end, after a little bit of simplification, you can finally report the answer like this. Means in physics we don't really care, you just leave the answer like this also, we are okay with that. But in mathematics generally they try to put things in a nice and simple manner. So that's basically going to be your final answer. So that's how the things work, and that's how you're supposed to solve these questions. One thing that you should not do is this: some students get a little bit distracted. They say, sir, okay, fine, this is the integral, so they write it like 1 upon integral x root x. Some students initially, when they are learning integration or differentiation and they're in initial stages, they make all kinds of funny mistakes. So uh, now obviously all kinds of funny mistakes cannot be incorporated in a video lecture, but still whatever can be done. uh, One thing that I've seen students often do is this, that they do something like this, and they eat up this dx also. They like don't like, they are not able to understand what to do with dx, so just they just eat up that dx also. And then they realize suddenly that x raised to 3 by 2 integral will be x raised to 5 by 2 upon 5 by 2. So by some funny mechanism or something, they ultimately manage 2 by 5 denominator x raised to 5 by 2 and something. Now this is totally wrong, because you can't just, this integration is not a mouse, it's not a rabbit that this will burrow inside and it will go to the denominator and it will start doing its work there. That's not going to happen. Integration is going to remain in numerator only, so you can't put the integration like this in denominator. It will remain here in its right position only, and accordingly you will have to make all these adjustments. So never do all these funny things, they are not to be done. And that's simple. And you can keep on practicing. Now you can have a lot many questions. And integration, since this is a reverse process of differentiation, integration will have many common properties also. For example, in differentiation you had said that if any number was being multiplied, then the number would come out of differentiation sign. The same thing happens in integration also, that if you have, let's say, 2 into x cube dx, so 2 will come out and you can integrate x cube. Now you know that integral of x cube will be x raised to 4 by 4. So you can finally say that this is x raised to 4 by 2 and so on. So all those parts are, calculations are fine, but the main thing here that you need to understand is that if a constant is being multiplied, that constant will simply come out of the integration sign. So that's kind of easy. Further, let us say another, let us have a look at another small thing. Sometimes they will give you integral and they'll not put anything here, they'll just give you integral of dx. Now what do you mean by integral of dx? There is nothing in it. So what should be like, if let's say if we just say integral, if we say this thing, it doesn't really carry much of a sense. But as far as integration is concerned, integral dx simply means integral of 1 into dx. See, wherever there is nothing, you can multiply 1 there, you can write this in this manner. And then we are extremely smart, so we also know that 1 means x raised to 0. That's really a smart step. And you know that x raised to 0 means here our n is equal to 0. So if you apply the formula of integration, it will be x raised to n plus 1 upon n plus 1. This will be the answer. And you can see x raised to 1. So this will be simply x. There will be a constant, fine, but ultimately the result is that integral of simple dx will give you x. And whenever I derive this thing, the face of my old teacher when I was in 11th, we had a Chatterjee sir in physics, and he was the one who taught this basic integration to us first, a little bit, few steps, and he had a very simple means a way of describing this. Means he did not go into all these complications. He simply said that integration and differentiation. Integration is like positive charge, differentiation is like negative charge because they are opposite processes. So in a way, he was right. They are like opposite charges, positive charge, negative charge. What happens when you bring positive and negative charge together? Boom. Like this is what the way he was a very nice and funny man. So this is the way he used to describe. Boom, they go off, nothing left. So okay, fine. So what he used to do was that if this positive charge and negative charge are brought together, these two essentially cancel out, and what you have really left in the end is x, and then a constant appears somehow magically. So that's fine. So that's the way he used to describe it. Technically this is not right, but okay, fine. If you just want to remember the result, you can see that this kind of works, although that's the derivation that I have given you on the upper half of the screen is the logical derivation, but still that's a nice and funny way of putting the thing. So remember always integral of dx is equal to x, and from this you can further see other things also, like if I give you integral of, let us say, 21 dx, means if I just put a constant inside integral, like if you remember, derivative of a constant was 0. So similarly, we are trying to explore what is the integral of a constant. You might be tempted to say 0, but let's check. You can see that 21 is being essentially multiplied to dx here. So 21 can be taken outside because any number that's being multiplied can be taken outside. So if you take 21 outside, you will have 21 multiplied to integral dx. And as my old Chatterjee sir said that integral and derivative will cancel out. Okay, let me not do that. You know the formula that integral dx is simply equal to x. So the answer will be 21x, and a free constant always comes. So this is basically the thing. So integral of 21 dx will not be 0. It will integral of 21 dx means take 21 outside, you will have integral dx. Integral dx is simply x, so your answer will be 21x. Fairly easy, I guess. And then you can keep going further. You can keep making bigger problems like this. If you have, let's say, if I give you an integral 4x cube plus 7x plus 10, let us say if you need to integrate this big fellow, we are not afraid. We are never afraid of big fellows. We can always take them on one by one. So you can see that if you wish to integrate this fellow, break it up first. You know that just like differentiation, here also we have that addition and subtraction rule, that if two things are being added or subtracted, then for integration purposes they can be separated. So this integral can be written as 4x cube dx plus 7x plus 10x. We can separate all of them. That will be our first step. And this is just like differentiation, that we can separate all these things, and then we can take this 4 outside. See, I'm taking very, very small baby steps, but once you have practice, you will be laughing at the speed I was solving these questions. If you play back this video after 6 months, when you have more practice, you will laugh at the baby speed that I'm going. But that's important because we need to learn things from basic, and the video is obviously for the students who are learning the whole thing from the basics. So therefore, anybody who is already aware of integration has no need obviously to watch the video. So let's go step by step, that this 4 goes out, 7 goes out, and so on, and then you can apply your rules. Integral of x cube will be x raised to 4 by 4. Integral of x means x raised to 1. This will be x raised to 2 by 2. And integral of simple dx will be equal to x. And you will add free constant here. Now some students are very greedy. They say, sir, there will be a constant here, there will be a constant here, there will be a constant here. So you will have 3 constants here. Now that's silly now, because 3 times constant is also a constant. So if you just call it a constant in the end, it's good enough. You don't need to have c1 plus c2 plus c3 or 3c there. That's totally not required. So you can see finally you will have here x raised to 4, 7 by 2x square and 10x plus 3. This will be your absolute super final answer, and congratulations, because this is the first somewhat bigger expression that you have managed to integrate. So you can see that integration is kind of as easy as differentiation, at least as far as physics integration is concerned. Mathematicians will not agree with me. Integration can get complicated at a higher level, but see, at a higher level, everything gets complicated. So if you want to really take things to mathematical direction, it will get complicated in the end, but that's not for us to worry about, because that your mathematics sir in future will take care of. My job is just to teach you basic integration, which will sail you across as far as physics is concerned. So that's what we are focusing on here. So this is how you perform the integration. Also, let us move further. Let us take maybe one more example. Anything you can, now you know in basic integration, so you can take up any example as such. So let's say that you have something like x root x plus 4x divided by x cube. Let us say if you are asked to integrate this mighty fellow. So now you might be tempted to say that, sir, let us use division rule. But number one, I have not taught you any division rule in integration. And number two, there is unfortunately no division rule in integration. Even at a higher level, there is nothing like a division rule in integration. So you will not be able to use any division rule for solving these questions, but these kind of questions. But honestly, if you see, there is no need of any division rule also. Just separate them. You will have x root x upon x cube. You can separate them like this. So if you separate them, you can easily see that you don't need any division rule at all. You can simply divide these things now. Like for example, x root x upon x cube can be written as x raised to 1 into x raised to half into x raised to minus 3. So all these simple calculations will give you x raised to 1 plus half minus 3. And those of you who can do it faster should definitely do it your own way. But I'm just, as I said, making sure that everybody understands everything here. So this will be like 1.5 minus 3. So that will be minus 1.5 if my calculations are right. So therefore, your integral will become, now I have simplified this fellow into this fellow. So this I will substitute here. Your integral will become x raised to minus 1.5 dx plus 4 x raised to minus 1 dx. This is obviously x raised to minus 1. Sorry, it was cube in the denominator. So it was cube here. So let me correct that. X raised to minus 2. That's looking nicer. And then you can apply your formula. X raised to minus. Now this is all x raised to n format now. So x raised to n plus 1 upon n plus 1. That's one thing. Similarly, x raised to n plus 1 upon n plus 1, another thing. And then you can solve further. You will have x raised to minus 0.5 upon 0.5 plus, rather, minus 4 x raised to minus 1. Chalo, let me not eat up the steps. Plus, and here you'll have minus 1. And you can keep on simplifying it further. So the main thing that you need to understand is that integration was over at this step. When, as soon as you wrote down this step, the integration part was over. After this is, it is only algebra. You can keep on simplifying it, but initial few questions I will simplify also, so that you get a good feel of what we are essentially doing. So you will have 1 upon 0.5 will become 2. X raised to minus 0.5 will become 1 upon root x. If you feel that I'm going a little too fast here, you can just pause the video, and you can write down a few steps on your own in pen and paper and verify after this. And Hopefully, if all the calculations are right, this is basically, I think, what you should be able to get in the end. And of course, whatever comes for free should never be left. So you should always remember to add that free integration constant because it is for free. So we Indians will never leave anything if it is for free. So that constant will be there. We might ask for two also. So chalo, all right. So this is how integration is performed in somewhat bigger cases also. It's kind of, you can see it's easy. Going further, there are more rules. Like say till now, whatever we have done was revolving around one formula, that integral x raised to n dx was this thing. Till now, all the questions that we have done were revolving around this x raised to n integral. But you can see that there are other functions also. Sine is there, cos is there, tan is there. So their integrals also should have some respect. So, and we'll again derive all of them by back calculation method. You know that. We'll just write down the derivative formulas here and we will back calculate. You know that integral of sine x is equal to cos, sorry, derivative of sine x is equal to cos x. So obviously, if derivative of sine x gives you this, then obviously integral of the answer should give you the question back. So we will convert this into integral formula like integral of answer should give you the question back. So this is how we will reverse this into integration. And similarly, you can keep doing this all day. This is nice and easy. D by dx of cos x. You know that the derivative of cos was negative sine x. So now you can easily see that if you wish to, if you reverse this thing, you will have integral of minus sine x will give you cos x, and you don't want this minus sign on the left side, so just take this minus sign on the other side. You can simply say that the proper formula is now integral of sine x is equal to negative cos x. And similarly, you can keep on doing this. Although in physics, mostly these two will be sufficient for initial questions at least, but still I'll write down a few more. You know that tan x derivative was equal to sec square x. So here you can write a strange formula like integral of sec square x dx will be equal to tan x. So basically you can see that I'm just reversing all the formulae, nothing more, nothing much, but these are at least the first two basic results you should be clearly aware of. Third result is also sometimes useful, and I'm deliberately avoiding some results here because some other results, like you must be definitely wondering, sir, all this is fine, but what is integral of tan x? Now this is not going to be that easy because unfortunately reversing it will be a little bit difficult. That's point number one. Number two, the answer will unfortunately contain a term which has log in it. And I'm not very sure that in 9th and 10th standard whether you have studied log or not. So I will be, in this lecture, I will be avoiding anything related to logarithms. Any formula related to logarithm, we will do it maybe at some other later stage. And apart from logarithm, other things we can have a look at. So x raised to n is there, sine cos is there. These integrals are definitely on cards and we have had a look at them. So this is basically your basic integration. And also understand that in this first lecture I have only taught you how to integrate. I have not taken you into any applications of integration. Trust me, applications are amazing and they are very, very interesting, but we'll keep the things segregated and keep the things systematic. So first of all, before you learn the applications, you'll need to learn the basic theory behind it. So I have only taught you how to integrate an expression, and after this you are expected to practice that first assignment that is associated with this. See, mathematics means practice. So if you just watch this lecture, you will obviously learn how to integrate, but the benefit of this lecture becomes 10 times if you solve that assignment that comes with this particular lecture. So if you solve that assignment after watching this lecture, can definitely say that you have mastered at least the basic integration that you will be using in physics. And after that, in a future lecture, in the next lecture, we will be talking about applications also. And trust me, again, whenever I talk about applications of integration, like they are amazing. You can find out weird kind of areas, area of a sphere, area under a parabola, very complicated areas can be found calculated by using integration, and lot many more things. So, but again, that will be done in the next lecture. So here, before you attend the next lecture, it is very, very necessary that you should solve the assignment that I'm giving you with this particular lecture, because that will contain around 30-40 questions. So unless you practice that, you would not be that comfortable with integration. Means, see, knowing something is one thing and being comfortable with something is another thing. So if you solve that assignment, as I've already mentioned, your benefits of looking of attending this lecture will become at least 10 times. So I expect that you do that, and then in our next lecture we will be talking about the applications of integration. All right, so chalo, I guess we are done for the day. Bye bye and see you in the next lecture. Happy learning.